Welcome, people who are viewing from my YouTube, and we still have the chat going. I am making a tier list of all the Restoration 3 abilities, minus Creature Handler, because it's Creature Handler, and minus Commando, because that's going to be redone, and the whole build, the whole thing is D tier, garbage. And then minus Squad Leader, because it's actually all S tier. Well, not every ability in Squad Leader is S tier, but you need one. And this will be from like the PvPer's perspective. I won't really account for a lot of these in the terms of, in terms of PvE, right? So we're going to go through the how OP these abilities are in PvP. So I'm just going to go down the list and we're going to talk about them. So first, we're going to do, what is this? They don't actually have the name. So I just spent like, let me tell y'all, I just spent an hour making this list. All these icons show up for everybody here. So I've definitely put some time into this. It took me an hour to make all these little things here. For the first ability, I guess we'll do Aim Shot. Aim Shot is just a damage ability, and it's not all that high in damage. So we'll just throw that in C tier, because it's just damage, doesn't really do much. This is Aim. Oh, the other thing I should tell you about is all these abilities, we're not tiering it based on how much the skill point requirement is. Oh shit, I got a raid. Oh, thank you for the host, Onyx, with 3 viewers. Appreciate it. A lot of these, like all these skills, we're not counting in the fact that you have a skill point requirement. We're just judging the abilities solely on their own, and then what if they can use ranged or melee, because some abilities being on melee is just better than having it on range, and some abilities having it on range is just better than having it on melee. So that's how we're judging these. We're just judging the skills for what they are. Next up is Aim. Aim is okay. You have to stop to use it, but it provides a huge accuracy buff. And that is pretty solid. So we'll throw that in B tier. Next, we're also judging the highest level of the ability, right? Not the lowest of the ability. We're judging only the highest tier of the ability. So like Advanced Aim, I think it is, or Improved Aim or whatever. I think it's Advanced. And then this will be like Advanced Armor Break, right? So Advanced Armor Break is really good. It's an S tier ability. It's the strongest armor break in the game. Jedi has an armor break, which we're also not listing Jedi abilities because Jedi's not even out, so why bother? But we are gonna do armor break A tier, S tier. Sorry, it just it's rating with a party of 8. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you very much, Onyx. And so we're doing advanced armor break S tier. It's just, it strips so much armor, it's unreal. Then we have back to infusion. So in Doctor, this skill is really good, takes up quite a bit of mind, but it's really good for healing. And it gets even better if you pick up the healing line of CM. I know we said we're not trying, having skill point requirements, but if you already have this, it's really good. We're gonna throw that in S tier because it's an awesome healing ability. Next is Back to Jab. Back to Jab is kind of like the worst healing ability in the game. It puts yourself on like a 4-second cooldown, and it's kind of long, and it doesn't heal for as much as any of the other healing abilities. So I'm actually gonna throw that in like B tier. It's still B tier because it's a heal, and heal is important to have. But we're gonna throw it in B tier because it's not as great as it could be. Back to Shot is gonna go S tier. The reason Back to Shot is S tier is because it has a very quick global cooldown on it. It's like 1 second. So you heal yourself and then you keep up in the fight, and that's why it's so good. I mean, this ability is, if all heals were like this, healing would be stronger than it already is. It was just so dumb. Anyways, next is Back to Spray. Now, I was thinking about doing this as A tier, but honestly, it's S tier. Why? Because it heals you and your friends. I've got a guy in my guild who did like Doctor with the healing line of Common Medic. He uses Bacter Spray, and it's like a 2k plus heal. It's like 2400 heal. It's really, really good. Back to Toss. It's a single target heal. Has a 4-second GCD, just like Back to Spray and the other heals do, except for Back to Shot. But it's single target, and it's kind of got some distance. It's good for healing other players, but if you're not out of position, you shouldn't have to use this too much on your friends. Mostly you use it for yourself, so I'm going to put that in A tier just because it's a healing ability. Berserk. Berserk is a swordsman ability that increases your damage by, I think, like 50 or so. It's actually kind of true damage. It just straight adds damage. Problem with the skill is that you can't heal while having it. And because you cannot heal while having it, I'm going to have to throw it in D tier. It's garbage, sort of. This is Binding Strike. This is a fencer ability that it lowers action regen, I believe. Yes, it lowers action regen. That's pretty good. I'm gonna throw it in B tier. If you mix like Fencer Combat Medic, you can really fuck someone's action over. And that's pretty strong. So it's B tier. It's not high damage. It is utility. It's a debuff. So it's good. Bleed. This is Bleeding Strike. I'm gonna throw it in B tier as well. It's not. The bleed is not all that powerful. And I mean, it's a fencer ability, but it's okay. It's out of DPS, which is fine. Blinding Strike, we're gonna throw in A tier. This is another fencer ability. I believe this is actually a cone ability. I think the rest of these other two are cones as well. But this one is a blind, and blind is a negative 120 accuracy, which means you do lower damage, which means this ability is awesome because you can blind multiple people at once as well as your own target. And that's pretty solid. This is Body Hit. This is just a damage ability, and unless the damage ability really stands out, I'm probably going to throw it in B tier because it just is B tier, right? So we'll throw this in B tier. It's just Body Hit. Now this is Body Shot. This is all in alphabetical order, by the way, because it's all loaded from one file where I named every single ability. Body Shot, also B tier. This is a Pistolier ability. Body Hit is a fencer ability. Body Shot is a Pistolier ability that does damage, but it's not like super high damage, so it's B tier. This is what is this? It's called. I just had it. Let's see. I forget what it's called. It's. I'm gonna have to look. I wish I named them all thinking it would. Oh, it's Burst Shot. That's right. So Burst Shot is a cone stun. Stun's pretty good. It's all right. It doesn't do much damage, but it is a cone stun. I'm actually going to throw it in B tier, I think. Mostly because when you're using AoEs, like if your whole group is using AoEs, you're not really going to have much of a chance to use the effects of the stun. That's really the problem with this ability, I think. But it's okay for 1v1s. Center of Being, S tier. S tier ability. This is a melee ability. We're also counting the highest version of it, which is Honed Center of Being in Terraskasi. Or Terrakasai, or whatever. If you're a Star Wars snob, you might pronounce it like that. This is getting S tier. Absolutely getting S tier. It's so good. It's like 500 defense, reduces so much damage. The only problem with this ability is that you have to stand still for like 4 seconds to use it because of server desync. But still, it's a really, really, really good ability. I definitely recommend it if you're melee. Next, we have Charge Shot. Charge Shot is a ranged knockdown that comes from Carboneer, and I'm not sure if I should put it in S or A. I think I'm going to put it in A tier. It is a ranged knockdown. It is really good. It is solid. Doesn't really do much damage, but hey, it knocks people down. It's really solid. Next, we have Combo Attack. Combo Attack is from TK, and it's just like their only damage ability in TK. So we're going to throw that in B tier. It's not very good. It's the only thing in TK. TK lacks damage, which is okay because they're tanky. but it's a B tier ability. We're gonna have a lot of these as time goes on. Conceal Shot. Conceal Shot. You have to have, well, first of all, before I go to Conceal Shot, we'll use Cover Up, and I'm going to throw Cover Up in the C tier. Cover Up is a rifleman ability. You go prone, you use Cover Up, and it makes you invisible. That's cool. However, it doesn't really have a lot of applications on the go. Like, you could have like a rifleman group that just like totally gets to jump on people by being covered up or something, but it's not that great to be stealthed in just that one spot that you're in. You can barely move. And Conceal Shot, what that does, and we're going to throw it in C tier as well, even though it's a pretty decent damage ability, it's just basically a chance to not reveal yourself when you're getting shot or when you're shooting someone from cover. So Conceal Shot's kind of C tier. Next we have Concussion Shot. This ability comes from Smuggler. Concussion Shot is it's like a mez, right? You're silenced, you can't move, and you can't move. You're silenced, can't move. You can still use items. Those are off cooldowns and stuff like that. So you can use items, but you can't move and you can't use abilities. But it breaks on damage. So I'm having some real internal conflict as to whether I throw this in A tier or S tier. S tier, I want to say S tier because it's really useful in 1v1s. You can reset the fight if you're a smuggler and you have this ability. You can reset the fight, but it'll break on damage. So it should break on dots as well. So maybe we'll throw it in A tier. We'll throw it in A tier. It's a pretty good ability. It's a great ability, but it's just it breaks on damage. If it didn't break on damage, it would be really stupid. It would be an I win button. But it's really, really strong. And so maybe it should be S tier. I'm conflicted about it, to be honest. Maybe we'll throw it in S tier. Yeah, we'll throw it in S tier. It's just so good. It's really good. Confusion Shot is next. This ability comes from Bounty Hunter. Confusion Shot places Dizzy and Stun on your opponent, which lowers their accuracy and lowers their defenses significantly. I think it's like 80. And if you manage to place both of those on at once, like with Confusion Shot, which is an amazing ability, I say it gets A tier. It gets A tier because it's an amazing ability. Like getting those two on your target increases your damage, decreases their damage. Very, very, very solid. This is Crippling Attack. This one here. Crippling Attack is a fencer ability that slows your target. I would say Crippling Attack. I've actually lost fights to Crippling Attack. Melee is pretty good in a 1v1. Crippling Attack makes melee really good in a 1v1. Because it can catch up to ranged. I mean, I guess that I'm talking about the ranged versus melee 1v1 at least. Crippling Attack, definitely A tier. I wouldn't say S tier because it's not like over the top busted good. But it is definitely A tier for sure. It's a really good skill. It's a melee slow, and it's the only melee slow that melee have. Next is Crippling Shot. Basically does the same thing as Crippling Shot, or as Crippling Attack. But it's ranged and it comes from Carboneer. It's super good. I highly suggest it. It's solid and it lasts quite a while. This is Critical Shot. This comes from Bounty Hunter. Now the thing about Critical Shot is it's very, very high damage. It's the second highest damage. It's tied with another ability that I'll bring up later whenever we get to it. But it's tied in damage with another Carboneer ability, and it's the second highest damage, low cooldown ability in the game. So I'm going to actually just put that in A tier, and I'll put the other one that's even higher than that in S tier, because this is amazing. This is a great ability. This makes Bounty Hunter really, really good. Next we have Critical Strike. This is from Swordsman. It's good. Swordsman abilities are really, really strong. It has an increased chance to crit. I actually haven't tested to see if it actually does. I assume it does. I haven't personally used it a whole bunch, but if it does actually increase your chance to crit, which it should, we're going to throw that in A tier because this is Swordsman ability and it's really strong. It is pretty good. It's one of your main damage abilities in that class. Now we have Deuterium Toss. Deuterium Toss is a fire dot from CM. The only downside to using the CM dots is armor absorbs a lot of it. And they're not very good, in my opinion. And remember, as always, my opinions are objective fact. Remember that. They're objective fact. I know, I'm a human and I make mistakes, but I don't make mistakes on my opinions, okay? I don't. They're 100% true. Basically written down in natural law. LOL. All right, Onyx. Listen. Deuterium Toss, C tier. Not great. Not a fan. Actually, I'm throwing D tier. The dots in CM are just lacking to me. They don't feel super effective. They're okay. Restraining, this is Disarming Shot, actually. It's like a 5-second silence. I'm going to throw it in C tier because the 5-second silence is honestly kind of... I mean, it's okay. There are better silences. But what are you going to do in 5 seconds? 5 seconds is helpful, don't get me wrong, but it's not like, woo, I'm going to get that disarming shot in that there pistolier tree. You know, no one's going to do that. Okay, so dive shot. This comes from like the combat tree and marksman. Dive shot, I'm going to throw in B tier. Why? Why am I going to throw dive shot in there? I'm also going to throw up kip up shot. Where's kip up shot? Kip up shot and roll shot. Where's roll shot? Right here. So dive shot, roll shot. Dive shot, when you use it, makes you go prone, does damage, and gives you a defense debuff. Or defense buff, sorry. Kip up shot, you're prone or kneeling, and you use it, and you go to standing, and you get a defense buff, and you do damage. And roll shot, same thing. Any position you're in, boom, you go into kneeling, and you get a defense buff, and you do damage. So these are B tier solely because they give you defensive buffs. I don't think they're terrible to use. I think they're actually worth using in a rotation. Next we have Dizzy Attack from TK. Doesn't do much damage, just applies dizzy. I know I put Confusion Shot in A tier for applying both, but this is meh. This is not as worth as using Confusion Shot. Just because, you know, you're using a global cooldown and all this other stuff, right? Duelist Stance. I know I put Center of Being up here. Duelist Stance, I think, is like 150 defense or 200 defense. Maybe it's 250. I'm gonna throw it in B tier because B, it's honestly doesn't last as long as Center of Being. You have to stand still to use it, just like Center of Being, and it just doesn't last as long. It doesn't provide as much defense. We're gonna knock it 2 tiers down from Center of Being. It's just not as great. Electrolyte Drain. This is an S tier slow. Absolutely. This shit lasts like 40 seconds to a minute, unless it got nerfed from last time I checked. This ability is retarded. It is so dumb. Now, it can be countered. It can be countered with Rancor Aid, which is a drink. You can drink Rancor Aid, and it will remove Electrolyte Drain only. The reason for this is because back in live, CMBH was a very, 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 very common Jedi hunting template because it killed a lot of Jedi. It was very effective. And they changed the way slows work. So before, initially when the CU came out, any like movement speed buff you got overwrote any movement speed slows you got, and it would not be stacking. So let's say you have +5 movement speed and a debuff gives you -10 movement speed. Well, your total movement speed would be +5 instead of being -5. So they changed it so that it's additive. So if your movement speed from Force Run is +5 and Electrolyte Drain is -10, then your total move speed would be -5. And this shit all over Jedi, and people were so angry about this change. But they gave us Rancor Aid back then. And Rancor Aid was specifically for the use of getting rid of Electrolyte Drain, because this ability is cancer. I remember getting so mad dying to it in live. Anyways, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Anyways, the next ability we got is Eye Shot from BH. This applies a blind. Blinds are... I think anything that blinds in this game is pretty good. It is, and it's ranged. So we're going to throw in the A tier. The only reason, actually, no, we're gonna throw it in S tier. You know why? Because melee, getting in to use this ability is really hard, whereas not to getting in to use this ability is really easy, right? You can lead with this ability, but it blinds and it's amazing. Next we have Fan Shot, which is from, Pistolier. It's an AoE. It's a cone AoE. Pretty much all the damage AoEs go into A tier for me. I would say S tier, but they're not like over the top in damage. But if you're doing spin groups or you're just doing PvP, having one AoE on your character is preferred because AoE is king. So Fan Shot, definitely A tier. Next we have Firearm Strike, which is from Pistolier. This ability sucks and is garbage. It's got a warm-up timer, it's melee, and you only use it with ranged weapons. It's absolute trash. I don't like the ability. Therefore, it's going down the shitter. Next up, we got Full Auto Area, which is the Carboneer AoE. We'll throw that in A tier. You go Pistolier or Carboneer. There are people do that template. It's good damage. It's good support in PvP. You've got slows. You've got roots. You got AoEs. It's solid. Next, we got Head Hit. It's okay damage. It's not like over the top. We'll throw it in there. That's from Swordsman. That's the Head Hit from Swordsman. Then we have Headshot from Rifleman. It's also okay. It does damage. It's okay. It's not over the top crazy, but it's pretty good. Next up is Hemorrhage, which I believe, if I am correct, Hemorrhage. We'll look it up real quick. Hemorrhage does what? It's a debuff. That basically makes it so that you lose action regeneration. Yes, that's what it is. Okay. So Hemorrhage is action regen debuff. Sorry, I knew that CM had an action regen debuff. I just wasn't sure if it was Traumatized or this one. I think Traumatized is the mind regen debuff, which is very strong. Action regen debuff. It costs mind to use, unlike this, which is the Binding Strike. We're going to throw this in B tier. We're actually throw this in A tier because this doesn't cost mind to use. But you can stack them too. If you were to like do Fence or CM, you can make someone run out of action pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty solid. Impale. Impale is one of the hardest hitting melee abilities. It's kind of like Torso Shot. I don't know if it's got the same modifier as Torso Shot, but it's still a really high damage ability. It's really good. I'm going to throw it in A tier. It definitely does good damage. Infect. This is the disease dot that CM has, and I don't think this one actually gets resisted. I'm actually going to throw it in B tier just because losing 500 of your max health kind of sucks. Like, it's kind of broken. Like, kind of OP, right? Like, it's not broken OP, but it's good, right? That's like 500 health that your enemies don't have to get through to get to you if you heal to full. So it's pretty good. Intimidate. Intimidate, I'm going to say, is A tier. This is in Pikeman. Pikeman gets Intimidate. It lowers people's damage, and I think it lowers defense slightly, but the biggest thing from it is the damage reduction. You know, this is very helpful when we're hunting crates or killing any high-end mob, really. Having Intimidate on the target is a huge help. It's also good in 1v1s, and it's good in PvP if someone's a really high damage, like Rifleman, BH, or something. And then the fact that it's on melee, though, puts it at A tier, because the next thing we have is literally the same thing, except it's ranged. It's called Intimidate Shot, and it comes from Pistolier. And I'm throwing in an S tier. Why am I throwing in an S tier? Because it's ranged. Anybody who holds a ranged weapon can use it if they have the skill. It's solid. So S tier debuff, very solid. I think if someone were to do like Rifleman, Pistolier, maybe Carboneer with some combat medic would probably be a really excellent duelist. Maybe. Next we have Kneecap Shot. I know I placed this one, this Carbine ability for the slow over here. I'm gonna throw that in the A tier as well because These are the same thing pretty much, except Kneecap Shot comes from Rifleman, whereas Crippling Shot comes from Carbineer. Last Ditch. Last Ditch. Okay, so Last Ditch is cool. Does more damage when you're like below, I think, like 25% health or whatever. But the problem is that the cooldown is super, super low. And with the cooldown, or sorry, super, super high, not super, super low. So I'm not the biggest fan of this ability, and I'm going to put it in D tier. It could be okay-ish, but it's just not great. It needs a rework, I think, of the ability. Leg Hit. It's a pikeman ability. Does damage, not over the top. It's great. It's good. So we'll throw it there. Then we have Leg Shot. Now, Leg Shot goes up with Critical Shot because it's the same damage multiplier. It's from Carbineer. Leg Shot and Critical Shot both have the same damage multiplier. It's ridiculous, in my opinion. It's very, very dumb how good these abilities are. Carbineer BH, not a bad thing. Next we have Leg Sweep. This is the TK knockdown. It's melee. It's okay. It's a knockdown. It's not all that great. I'll just throw it kind of in C tier. Because getting up to people to knock them down is kind of difficult. So I threw it in C tier. Now we have Low Blow, which is a smuggler ability. I think Low Blow is really solid. I think it's awesome, and it stacks with other debuffs, which I have put in there. So we're gonna go ahead and put it in A, because the attack speed reductions, which is what Low Blow does, stack. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Lunge. Low damage ability that gives you like a few more meters of range for melee. We're going to throw that in C tier. I think this ability needs to be a little bit better. It's honestly not great the way it is right now. I put melee hit in there. We're just going to throw that in D tier. It doesn't matter. Just disregard that I put melee hit in there. I'm not putting melee hit, range hit, and all that, or range shot and all that stuff in there because everybody has them and it's like whatever, not a big deal. This is Overwhelming Shot, I think. I believe it is, right? Is this from Smuggler? Yeah, Overwhelming Shot. It says it makes people more vulnerable to states, but I haven't really felt the effects of it. I mean, I have kind of, but it's meh. It's very meh. So we're going to throw it in D tier. I don't think it's worth using, really. This is Panic Shot, which is a silence. I think it's like 25 seconds or 20 seconds. One of the two. This I'm going to throw in S tier. I think it's a really good CC. Same with Concussion Shot. In fact, you can Concussion Shot, and when their Concussion Shot ends, bam, you can apply Panic Shot, which is ridiculous if you wanted to just keep someone kind of out of combat with you. In fact, what you could do is you can Panic Shot someone, and then you can, like when it's about to be over, Concussion Shot, and then wait for the full duration of Concussion Shot, and then Panic Shot again, and then the debuff that keeps them from being silenced again will be gone. So that'll be really good. That's like a whole minute and 20 seconds they can't play the game. That's pretty strong. Some pretty ridiculous CC. Next up is Paralyze. I'm gonna actually throw this in B tier. It's Concussion Shot, but it's shorter, takes mind and melee range. That's why it's going 2 whole tiers down. It's good, right? If you're playing, you know, that or whatever, but it's meh. Parry or Post. This is from Master Brawler. We're gonna go ahead and throw that in the garbage. It goes in D tier along with the other D tier skills. It is not great. Oh, Samchasm is rating with a party of 10. Appreciate it, my guy. Thank you. Next up, we have Power Attack. Power Attack is a swordsman ability. Does damage. I'm gonna throw it in B tier though, because you actually have
Sith spit.
You actually have to hold it. You have to stand still to use power attack. What's up, dude? Doing good, man. Just making a tier list for Restoration 3. Just trying to get it going and rate all the abilities properly, I think, in my opinion. My super objective, definitely correct, absolutely never wrong opinion. So, that's what I've been doing. Sweet, LOL. Yeah. So power attack B tier, pretty bad for what it is. It does damage. It does do a lot of damage, but you got to set up for it. You got to get the knockdown, or someone's got to root or something, and it's got a warm up timer, which is why it's B tier. And then we got rapid fire. No, this is quick draw. Quick draw is okay damage. It's supposed to have a lower cooldown, which is all right. Rapid fire, same thing. Quick draw comes from Pistolier. Rapid fire from Carboneer. Both of these are just okay damage abilities. They're not anything special, so we'll just throw them there. Reckless Shot. Reckless Shot does damage, some damage, but it applies a negative 80 defense debuff to yourself. So because it does that, we're going to throw it right here in the trash where it belongs. I should have just named this tier trash. Trash. Here we go. Done. Yeah. And this is what's up, garbage brains, dude? And this is what is this? This is Restraining Shot, which is a range slow, but it's not a very strong range slow, so I'm gonna throw it in C tier. Then we get, this is Scatter Hit. It's okay, it does damage. Well, you know, we'll accept it as fine. You know, it's not the worst. It's B tier is damage. Scatter Shot, same thing, does okay damage, not over the top. Shock, pretty much does the same thing as Overwhelming Shot, so we're gonna go ahead and throw that in the trash. It's not great. I would never use it if I was a combat medic. Well, I am a combat medic, but I don't use it. I don't have Master Combat Medic. Yeah, trash it, dude. Yeah, it's garbage. Next up is Sniper Shot. Now, Sniper Shot is the highest damage ability in the game. That should make it S tier, but it's not S tier. Why? Because you have to sit down, or you have to go prone, and then you have to use up a warm-up timer, and you have to be at least 20 meters away from your target. Now, that doesn't make it absolute garbage, but it does make it hard to use. So we're going to put it in B tier, because it is a good ability, but it's very, very situational. It's not good. Like, all these abilities are good in like every single situation. Like, these are great. And these are amazing. These are also great abilities that are useful in every situation pretty much. But Sniper Shot, not so much. But it does high damage, so we're going to throw it there. Spin Attack. Ooh, Spin Attack. It's an AoE, but it's not the god tier ranged AoEs we get. So we're going to throw it in B tier, because it's a melee AoE. AoE is good, but melee AoE is a little rough. A little rough. Spray Shot, we're going to throw that in A tier. We're going to throw it at the top of A tier because, you know, whatever. For the ranged abilities here. It's good. So we got Spray Shot, Fan Shot, Full Auto Area. Whoever's got that combo of abilities is like a one-man strafe wall. Then we got Startle Shot. Now, Startle Shot is actually crazy. I'm going to put it above Panic Shot, actually. We're going to throw Panic Shot over here. We're going to throw Panic Shot one down. Actually, we're going to leave Panic Shot S tier. Never mind. But I'm going to bring it like way over here, because Startle Shot actually does decent damage and is like a 20-second silence at the same time, which is ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous, because I've won fights with it. It's so dumb. What a stupid ability. What a fucking retarded ability to have. It does damage and it silences. It's so dumb. It puts it better than Panic Shot, but Panic Shot doesn't really do much damage. But if you use Startle Shot, it does do damage, and it silences them. So what you do is, you're playing around. If you've got Startle Shot, you're probably a Master Rifleman. So you're playing around, you get them to about half, then you Startle Shot them with your awesome rifle powers, and then you fuck them up with whatever damage ability you choose, because they're pretty much one hit away at that point. It's so stupid. Startle Shot is easily the dumbest skill, I think, in this tier list. It really, really stupid. Like, good. And that's against ranged players, by the way. Not against, is anyone on Basilisk that can res me? I just died. Probably not. That sucks. Yeah, Startle Shot, too good. And I almost had enough XP for XX1X lightsabers. I cannot believe you're still trying to grind that. Oh, God, how awful. Stopping Shot. Stopping Shot, S tier. 100% S tier. It's a root. You're just stuck there for like 20, 25 seconds. I can't remember exactly. I think it's 25 seconds, 20 seconds. I don't remember. Either way, you're stuck there for a little while and you got to sit there. I think it's 20 seconds. You're stuck there and you have to take damage and you can't break out of it, and you got to sit there and take damage. And that super, super, super duper sucks. Not great. Not great. This is Stunning Blow, and it is from Pikeman, and it's an AoE, and it stuns. We're going to throw it in B tier. This is Suppression Fire from Carboneer. It is an AoE, but it's very, very low damage, and it slows, but it's a very short slow, and it's a very not very good slow. Because of that, I'm going to throw it in C tier. It's not quite trash, still worth using, but man, does it kind of suck. This is Sweep Attack from Pikeman. Pikeman Sweep Attack is not bad. Pikeman Sweep Attack is pretty good, actually. I'm going to throw it in A tier. Why? Because it's an AoE, and it's a knockdown. AoE knockdown. It's the only AoE knockdown outside of Jedi. That gives it some oomph to it. It's good. Imagine if you get like one guy. You know, like the way my guys play, I've got videos of it on my YouTube. The way my guys play, if we had one melee, just one, that just went in there and just sweep attacked and we just spammed our AoEs, we would get so many kills so quickly, it would be stupid. Flurry Attack. Or Sword Flurry. What's it called? I forget what it's called. His score invited me into a group, but I'm not trying to do stuff on here right now. Although I do like his score. His score is a cool guy. Let's see. In Swordsman, what is it called? It's called Sword Flurry. There we go. Sword Flurry. Sword Flurry is really good. It does decent damage, and it provides you with a defense debuff. Or sorry, defense buff, not debuff. So we're gonna throw that in A tier because it's a really good melee ability, really solid. There's a reason people pair up Swordsman and Pikeman, because it has a really, really good synergy. Next is Thyroid Rupture. This is an attack speed slow, and it stacks with low blow, but it costs mind, and it's melee range, which is a downside of it. Being melee range, you know, got his issues, man. Got his issues. So I'm gonna throw it one tier below low blow, but it is a really efficient like attack speed slow. You stack that with low blow, dude, your opponent's cooldowns are gonna be so long, it's retarded. It's just so dumb. Now we have the best damage ability in the game. It's not the most damage ability like Sniper Shot, but it's the best damage ability. And it's the best damage ability because it's low cooldown and it's got the highest damage modifier. This is the only pure damage ability we're going to throw in S tier. And it's Torso Shot from Bounty Hunter. And it also has a bleed. And it does damage. It's so good. This is easily the best damage ability in the entire game. We're going to throw it up there, right there. It is ridiculous to have this the way it is without giving other classes something else. The Bounty Hunter easily has the best 2 damage abilities in the game. And it is ridiculous. Traumatized. This is a mind regen debuff, which it is melee, yeah, but is that so bad? I don't know. Is it so bad? I don't know. I'm going to throw it in A tier because debuffing mind regen is OP. It's OP is what it is. Next, we got Underhand Shot. It is like Charge Shot. It's a Bounty Hunter ability and not a Carbineer ability, but it's a range KD. Range KD is too good. It is way too good. Range KD is amazing. Like, it honestly is just, like, so good. So we're throwing it in A tier along with the Charge Shot here, which is another ranged KD. Next, we have Viral Neurotoxin, which is from Comet Medic, which applies a poison. And I feel the same way about this ability as I do Deuterium Toss. Deuterium Toss. It's right there in the trash. It's fucking garbage. The problem with these abilities, once again, is that they just get negated by armor so heavily. I just feel like they're so bad. So there they are in the garbage. Next, we have Warcry. I know I put Aim Shot in C tier because it's pretty bad, but Warcry is an attack speed debuff for melee, which is pretty good. Pretty good, solid. It's not like costing mind, but it's also not range, so it definitely has to go above Thyroid Rupture. Where do I put it? Do I put it A tier? Or do I put it at B tier? Put it A tier. Once you get these debuffs on you, like Intimidate and Warcry, both are from Pikeman, it is a bitch to deal with. It's just so annoying. You're attacking slower, your damage is lower. It's a nightmare. Next up, we got Warning Shot, which is our last one. We've done 81 abilities. 81 abilities. That's amazing. I can't believe I did this. It took me like almost 2 hours to do this. Warning Shot is a -80 defense debuff from Pistolier. And because of that, I think we throw it in A tier. I think this is a pretty good list. I think I did well. You know, I'm streaming right now, but I'm gonna throw this on YouTube. It's gonna be YouTube content as well. So what I want y'all to do is comment and let me know your thoughts. Maybe you disagree with some of my placement, or you think I place something, you know, maybe I play something too high, maybe I play something too low. Let me know what you think. If you disagree with anything, let me know why you disagree with it as well. Anyways, that is all for this video. I shall catch you all later.